with our speakers, and I want to thank them again for the capability of being so clear and so thorough in so short time. We have three panelists: Yannis Trifillis, Gurdo Michalis Shipping, Sergio Paneni, who is the head of shipping of Enel, and Manolo Veladini, who is... no, Manolo Veladini is not going to speak. Okay, so you are left just you two. Do you like to have some comments? I think that the topics touched are extremely interesting for a charterer like you are, mainly a charterer, and for a ship owner like Yannis. Sergio Paneni.
Okay, you work. So, thank you again for the invitation. Very high-level conference. So you are excused for the delay. Bit of delay, of course. So what to say? Very interesting. I mean, particularly in the expected, the recent past and the expected gloomy moment of this market, the dry bulk. I'm not an expert in legal, but even in my activity in Enel, notwithstanding we are mainly charterers, but due to the fact that for a strategy we have handling time charter, a long-term period time charter, of course we faced already problems like that. Minor so far, particularly because our company have a strict policy in terms of risk management, which is extremely important. But notwithstanding that, we are still facing a big problem. What can I say? Everything is important to know. Even if when there is a termination of a good contract on time charter out and the market is a very low side, we tried to resist and to get the money until the last moment, particularly when you see that the other party is really in a bad default position. So legally, what we can complain is that the timing of to attack usually are not easy to approach. I mean, slow time and long time needed under legal procedures. And then when you are in a problem like that, I mean, it's extremely difficult to manage. So anyway, thank you. I mean, the presentation was fantastic. I mean, very clear.
I have a small question for you.
Yes.
You are a very important charterer, so just to clarify to owners, do you have long-term time charter commitments? Do you share the view that reducing or not paying the hire is a normal procedure to increase the value of the shareholders?
No, I took note, in fact. I'm afraid that, okay, myself will not approve that, but even my company, of course, is fantastic, I would say, in brackets, of course, because to add that the value of our shareholder is a good reply. We need to be careful in the market. This is how to anticipate the problem. Even if it is extremely difficult, because you have to trade your vessel, you have to manage your time charter or your fleet, and you know, precautions are never too much. But that's it. Thank you again.
I had no doubts at all knowing Enel since decades, so, but just to keep the owners relaxed. Yes. Yannis, what is your comment about what you heard?
Thank you, Go. I don't have so much of a comment on what I've heard, but I'll pick up from something that Mr. Jago mentioned, and he said that, you know, owners should be pragmatic and realistic and take a 50-50 on the small hits. I'm not going to go into whether this might create, you know, a moral hazard issue of people claiming all the time since they're guaranteed 50-50, but I will stay on the advice of being pragmatic, and then now I'll take off the owner's hat and I'll put on the hat of the UK Defence Club and say that we hope that the lawyers can also be a bit more pragmatic in their pricing of their services, both on the per hour basis, but also on the whole concept of whether an hourly basis is the correct way to bill. Because when you do get cases that are, obviously every case is different, just as, you know, every person is different and special, etc., but they're also quite similar. A default is a default, a non-delivery is a non-delivery, a defect's a defect. So hopefully within these huge corporations there is enough knowledge of what a case would potentially entail, and they should be able to set certain fixed price parameters, which I am sure that for bulk purchases of these services, like the UK Defence Club for one, but all the other defence clubs or even big corporations should have some kind of an advantage, in the same way that Enel might enjoy after hiring 10 or 15 of somebody's bulk carriers. And I think there was talk earlier of the yard and owner relation, like a father and mother. There was talk earlier of, you know, a bank and an owner being a husband and a wife. And I think that, you know, an owner and the lawyer may not have this type of a relation, but at least on the club level, there should be able to be an understanding that allows people to discuss in advance and to set fees in advance along a preferred legal partnership or this type of thing. And now on a second but slightly related topic, we move away from the legal advice and we go to the legal process, and we talk just a little bit about arbitration, where again the costs are becoming very high. And again, this is my personal complaint here, sometimes the times are very long. So something needs to be addressed here, because otherwise the common law and just going to court will start becoming attractive again. And the same reasons you had for people seeking sort of private justice will push them back in the public sphere. And here I'm hoping that maybe just as the parameter of bulk purchase should reduce the price, maybe we need to see more arbitration competition. Maybe we need to see other jurisdictions, maybe in Asia or in the Far East, coming into the picture and offering a competitively priced arbitration process. There is no reason why there should be this sort of exclusivity, like some kind of priesthood or something. It's not that difficult. But anyway, these are just some comments to try and keep it a bit more legal and a bit less, less commercial, because it's rare that an owner at least has so many lawyers around him and can speak for free. So I take advantage of it. Thank you very much, Ugo, and thank you, Francesco, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Yannis. Now, I think we can say that the dry bulk session is over, and we will pass the floor to offshore and tankers. Valeria, you can now move here.
I can see Valeria, she's
But Ugo, meanwhile, could we jointly thank so much Francesco Lauro for the great organization?
Of course, Francesco has done a great job.
I thank all of you, and in particular Valeria, Carlo, and Smith, who are the last session, but last but not least, and also the youngest, especially for Carlo. So if all of them come here, we start briefly with the offshore. We have got just one speaker, and then we do the energy in just after with also one speaker. So the panelists can stay. Professor stays here because you have to make the very short conclusion. Facciamo simbolico. Resta.